My dog kicked my husband's backside, and I ain't shedding a tear. Hello. Welcome to my story. I'm telling you if you subscribed. Listen well. I ever think a scruffy mutt could flip your whole blasted life upside down? Nah, me neither. Till it whacked me in the face like a soggy rag. I'm Eva, 25, when this mess kicked off. Stuck with Daniel in a house that looked all posh and proper. Roses climbing the fence like they owned it. Kettle humming away. Max, our dog, snoring by the door, with his daft paws sprawled out. Outside folk probably thought, lucky gal, she's got it made. Inside, quiet as a tomb, lonely as heck, me rattling round like a spare wheel nobody wants. This ain't some neat little story you tuck away. It's my noisy, messed up life, so sit down, grab a cuppa, let's chew the fat proper. When it was all sunshine and drizzle, Daniel was my world once, swear down. Met him at a mate's barbecue, hot summer day. Him flipping burgers like he was born for it. Me spilling cider all over my topcoat and clumsy muppet, laughing like proper goofs till the stars popped out. Tall fella, beard scratching my cheek when he got close, eyes twinkling like he was up to no good. Hitched a year later, young and thick as mince, swearing forever over Nan's wonky cake that tasted like sawdust. But we ate it anyway, 'cause love in it. First place was a right dump, walls peeling like old skin, mattress dumped on the floor, sink gurgling like it was choking. Didn't care a jot, we were buzzing. Nights were pure gold, him strumming some beat-up guitar he nicked off his cousin. Me snuggled up, giggling over burnt toast and 2 quid plonk that tasted like vinegar. His hands, crikey, always on me, brushing my hair, yanking me close, making me shiver like a kid on Christmas. Was proper good, proper alive. Then Max crashed the party. Daniel dragged me to a shelter one soggy afternoon. Rain hammering the roof, pointed at this floppy-eared pup with paws like plates and a tail that wouldn't quit. Ours, he said, grinning like a daft goon who'd won the pools. Max was chaos on legs, chewing my best socks, tripping over his own ears, licking jam off the counter like he owned the joint. We'd wrestle him onto the sofa, 3 of us tangled up in a sweaty heap, and I'd think, this is it, family in it. Daniel's trucking was small fry then, short runs, home by tea with mud on his boots and a smirk on his chops. Head scoop Max up, ruffle his fur till it flew everywhere. Go, keep her out of trouble, lad. Max was our glue back then, our daft, slobbery glue keeping the cracks shut. When the quiet crept in our life's a sneaky rotter though, ain't it? Daniel's job got massive, long holes, fat checks rolling in, precious little time left for us. Head stumble through the door late, boots dumping mud all over my clean floor, face like head seen the rough end of the world. Chats fizzled out. Used to be how's your day love over a bowl of stew I slaved over. Then it was grunts like he was a caveman. Then nada, just him and his plate, and me staring at the wall. I'd set the table proper, faff with the gravy till it was smooth, waiting for a flicker, a blasted word. Head shovel it down, eyes stuck to his phone, mates texting nonsense, trucker yarns, never a glance my way. Fork clinking was louder than a thud, cut me deeper than any row ever did, left me hurting quiet. Nights were rotten, lying there, quilt choking me like a noose, staring at the ceiling while he snored, back turned like I was the enemy he had to guard against. Bed was a blasted icebox, cold, empty, dead. I'd try, daft as I was, hand creeping over the sheets, brushing his shoulders soft like. Eva im knackered head mutter, shrugging me off like I was a wasp buzzing his ear. Tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow, my eye. Weeks dragged on slow, and I was fading, melting into the walls, drowning in the quiet. Lord knows where I went. Dull now, Chubby, ugly. What was it? I de-yanked my hair in the bathroom mirror, steam fogging the glass, searching for the girl he used to chase around the kitchen with that daft grin. Max saw me though. Those big brown eyes stuck to me like glue. Kitchen, sofa, bed. ID flopped down after a shift at the bakery, hands stinking of dough for pennies, knees aching from standing all day, and he'd plunk his head in my lap, huffing like he knew the score. The ache, the nothing, the blasted weight of it all. Didn't need to spell it out. ID, scratch his ears, mumble, "My mate ain't ya?" And his tail thump, slow, steady, like a heartbeat I could lean on. Kept me from falling apart, that did. The night it all went pear-shaped. One night Daniel rolled in, stinking of diesel and fags, eyes sunk like he hadn't slept in a week. I'd made shepherd's pie, his old fave, spuds crisp on top. Took me ages 'cause the oven's a swine. He shoveled it in, didn't even look up from his plate, then crashed in his chair with a beer, telly blasting some foodie rubbish I couldn't care less about. I sat there, fork spinning in my hand, heart banging like a drum in my chest. "Hey, love," I said, voice all wobbly like a kid. "Cuddle tonight, been ages in it." He sighed. Crikey, that sigh was a knife in the ribs. "Eva, not now. I'm beat." Beat? Like I'm a blasted job he can't be arsed with. Nodded, throat tight as a vice, cleared the plates with my hands shaking. Max patted after, nudged my leg with his wet nose. I dropped to the floor, hugged him tight, whispered, "You don't ditch me, do ya?" Tears prickling my eyes. Things got uglier. Better the war zone. Him over there, me stuck here, cold sheets stretching miles between us. I'd try again, daft gal that I am. Hand sliding over, touching his arm soft in the dark. Head twitch, jump like ID burned him with a fag end. "Not tonight," Eva head growl, rolling further off. ID lay there, heart smashing my ribs. When did I turn into this thing he can't stand? Rejection wasn't a sting. It was a blasted boulder in my gut, heavy, sour, crushing. ID curl up small, wind howling outside, feeling like a bit of rubbish left on the curb. Max, my blasted hero. Max stuck closer than ever. Walks got long, proper treks, down the river where the water gurgled like it was gossiping, through the park with kids screaming their heads off, past the old oak, creaking like an old geezer's knees. ID chuck him a stick, head-leg it, tripping over his daft paws, barking like a nutter, let loose. Air hit me sharp, wet grass sticking to my boots, mud squelching, smoke from some chimney tickling my nose. His fur was warm, brushing my hand, alive and real. ID slump on a bench, him flopped next, watching the world spin by slow. No quiet to choke me, no Daniel to duck. Head look up, tongue hanging out like a drunk, and ID think, "I'm all right to you, Maxie." Daft as heck. But it patched me up, kept me sane. Daniel noticed, course he did. Stormed in one night, face like a slapped backside, red and sour. "Eva, what's with you and that blasted dog?" he barked, keys smashing the counter so hard they bounced. Out there with him all day, more than me. What the heck? I froze, kettle hissing, steam burning my hand. "More than you," I snapped, voice cracking like glass. "You turn your back every night, treat me like I'm blasted air. What's that then?" His eyes flared up, fists tight, thought he'd swing at me. "Nah," grabbed Max, dragged him out kicking, locked him in the shed. "Stays there," he snarled, door banging shut like a thud. I stood there, kettle shaking, gut sinking to my boots. Crikey, what just happened? That with the moon. Couldn't sleep, not a wink. Daniel was out cold on the sofa, telly flickering blue over his slack gob, snores rattling the walls like a chainsaw. Kept seeing Max, alone, cold, wondering what had done wrong, poor sod. Crept down quiet, nabbed a blanket off the rack, slipped out into the dark. Moon was low, chucking this silvery glow over the garden. Grass glinting like it was iced up. Shed door creaked like a swine when I yanked it. There he was, curled tight, eyes big and sad as heck. "Oh, mate," I choked, dropped to my knees on the damp wood. He shuffled over, head smashing into my chest. I hugged him tight, blanket tangled round us like a cocoon. Tears hit me messy, soaking his fur, snot and all. Kissed his scruffy head, felt his heart thumping, whispered, "Sorry, lad, so sorry." Crikey. That was love. Pure and proper, more than Daniel ever chucked my way. Morning was grey, heavy as lead. Daniel acted like it was nothing, strolled in, poured his coffee, grunted about some early shift. "Let Max in." He glued himself to me, tail thumping the tiles like a drum. "You're soft on him," Daniel smirked, mug steaming in his paw. "Soft. Now, mate, has my blasted lifeline, keeps me from drowning." Things dragged on after that, same old rot. Daniel tried sometimes, awkward pats on my back, like I was a mate, mumbly chats about fixing us up. Felt like hugging a lamppost, cold, stiff, nothing there. ID, nod. Fake a grin, grab Mac's lead, leg it out the door, wind blowing the tension out of my skull. The row that broke it all. One night he pinned me down, not with his hands, thank goodness, just words. Sat me on the sofa, hands knotted up tight like he was sweating bricks. "Eva, we gotta sort this," he said, voice all rough and low. "I've been a rotter, I'll try harder, swear it." My heart jumped, crikey. Was this it? A crack in the wall. He reached out, fingers grazing my arm, but nothing zilch. No heat, no pull. Just a poke at something dead and buried. Goot twisted up sour. Too late, I croaked. Barely got it out. His face went hard, eye slits. Then he stormed off, boots smashing the floorboards, door banging so hard the windows shook like they'd crack. Didn't chase him. No fight left in me. Just sat there. Max nudging my knee. After that, Max was my everything. Cooked supper, 1 plate. Heck with 2, him sat there waiting for sausage scraps, or a bit of crust I dropped on purpose. Yapped about my day. Daft gal at the bakery banging on about her cat's sore paw, rain smacking the windows like it was cross with the world. Head tilt his head, ears flopping like curtains. I'd laugh. Proper rib-cracking laughs that hurt good. Daniel stayed out more. Didn't come home some nights. Crashing at some mates or goodness knows where. Stopped asking, stopped giving a hoot. Quiet wasn't bad with Max, snoring next to me. Warm bulk pressed against my leg like a rock. Getting my act together. Months rolled by, slow and sticky. And I started, Lord knows, living again maybe. Caught myself in the hall mirror one morning. Hair a wild mess from our walks. Cheeks red from the chill whipping my face. Thought, well heck, I ain't hideous, am I? Dug out Mum's old knitting needles, hands all shaky remembering her cackle as she showed me the ropes back when her fingers didn't tremble. Knitted Max a scarf, lumpy as heck. Poor sod wore it proud. Even when it fell apart mid-trot down the lane, trailing wool like a daft flag. Started nattering with the neighbors. Old Mrs. Jenkins, with her creaky hips and endless tea. Mr. Patel yapping about his grandkids drawing on his walls. Life wasn't a fairy tale, no blasted pixies. But it was mine, and that hit different. Felt like a win. One crisp afternoon, took Max up the hill behind our place. Sun was dipping low, painting the sky this soft peachy glow that made the world look less knackered than it was. Flopped onto the grass, him sprawled next to me, watching the light bleed into dusk slow and lazy. Reese carried that sharp autumn bite, rustling the leaves overhead like they were whispering secrets, his fur warm and steady, brushing my hand. Thought about Daniel. Where in blazes was he now? Did he miss me? Did I miss him? Maybe the old him, the goon who'd twirl me round the kitchen, humming off key like a drunk. But right then, with Mac's head heavy on my knee, I didn't feel adrift. I felt rooted, like I belonged somewhere. Elsie, the mad old bird. Then Elsie barged into my life like a blasted whirlwind. Moved in next door. 70 if she was a day. Wiry as a whippet. Laugh like a foghorn that wake the dead. Limping 'cause of that rotten war she kept banging on about. Caught me and Max one morning, hobbling over with a tin of biscuits, the sugary ones that stick your teeth together like glue. "That's a fine lad you got," she said, nodding at Max, who'd already sniffed the loot and was drooling like a tap. "Better company than most blokes, eh, pie?" I chuckled, caught off guard by the cheeky old gal, and that was that. She latched on like a burr I couldn't shake. Wed sit on her porch, her with tea strong enough to strip paint off a wall, me with Max at my feet, swapping stories over the clink of her spoon. Hers were wild, dodging bombs in London, making cigs off soldiers, outrunning coppers on a dare 'cause she was a nutter. Mine were quieter, bakery shifts, Daniel's silences, Mac's daft antics. But she listened, eyes sharp as pins, cutting through my nonsense like a hot knife. One day, she dropped a blasted bombshell on me. "Ever think of leaving him, love?" she asked, stirring her tea. Clink, clink, calm as you like. Biscuit froze halfway to my gob, crumbs dropping on my lap. "Daniel, I mean, you're too young to waste away like this." I stammered some rubbish about loyalty, sticking it out as that's what you do. But her words stuck. Crikey, did they stick. That night, lying there with Max snoring beside me, I saw it. Me and him a little flat somewhere new. No Daniel, no ghosts haunting the corners. Scared the daylights out of me, but it was there, flickering like a candle in the wind, teasing me with what-ifs. When it all hit the fan proper, winter rolled in hard, and so did the chaos. Daniel came home one night, eyes red as heck, stinking of whiskey and despair, breath sharp enough to cut glass. Lost a big run, he slurred, slumping into a chair, hands shaking like leaves in a gale. Boss chewed me out, might be sacked. Messed it all up. I stood there, kettle hissing in my grip, steam curling up my wrist, not knowing what in blazes to say. "Sorry," I mumbled, feeling thick as a brick, but he waved it off, glaring at Max like he was the devil. "You and that mutt, always together, like in the blasted stranger here." I bristled, hackles up sharp. "Maybe if you'd look at me once in a while," I snapped, voice wobbling. He cut me off, shouting, "Don't start, Eva. Don't you blasted start." Turned into a proper war. Him blaming me for every mess-up under the sun. Me hurling back every hurt I'd swallowed down like poison. Max barked, caught in the middle, tail low, till Daniel grabbed his coat and stormed out, door slamming so hard the windows rattled like they'd shatter into a million bits. House went dead quiet, just Max whining soft by my side. He didn't come back for days. 4 blasted days, count them. Didn't call, didn't text, nothing. Elsie popped over on the 3rd morning, saw my puffy eyes, my face like I'd been dragged through a hedge, dragged me to her place with a grunt. "Men like that," she said, pouring tea thick as tar, "they don't change, love. They rust, rot where they stand." Told me about her ex, left her after 20 years for some barmaid with a peroxide perm and a giggle like a hyena. Best thing he ever did. She grinned, teeth yellowed but fierce as heck. I sipped my tea, Max at my feet, let that sink in, warm and heavy as the mug warming my palms. Heck with it, him out. Spring crept in, slow and shy like it wasn't sure, and I made my move, blast it. Found a flat, tiny, creaky as heck, walls thin as paper, smelled like damp and old fags. Packed my stuff while Daniel was out, clothes shoved in bags, knitting needles rattling, Max chewed up toys in a box. Left a note on the counter, scribbled quick, "I'm done, take care." Didn't even sign it. Didn't look back as I loaded Max into the car, his daft scarf flapping out the window like a flag of farewell. Elsie waved from her porch, hollering, "Give him, heck love, you show him." Drove off, radio crackling some old tune about freedom or some nonsense. And I felt light, scared witless but light, like ID dropped a ton of bricks off my back. Settled in quick. Flat was a damp plaster peeling, floorboards groaning under every step, but it was ours, me and Max. It was ours, me and Max. He claimed the sofa, sprawling like a king with his tongue out. I claimed my blasted life back. Got a job at a pet shop, funny innit, nattering with old dears about their cats' fussy guts, their budgies squawking the house down. Elsie visited, bringing biscuits and that foghorn and laugh, bouncing off the thin walls. One night she dragged me to bingo, me the youngest there by 40 years easy, shouting house while Max waited outside, tail thumping the pavement like a drum. Laughed till my sides ached, tears streaming, proper cleansing tears that washed some of the rot away. New faces, new mess. Started painting. Daft little canvases of Max snoozing on the rug, the river glinting under the sun like it was winking. Elsie's crinkly smile over her teacup with steam curling up. Hung him up with mismatched nails, made the place mine, rough and ready. Met a bloke at the shop, Tom, mid-60s, wiry as a whippet, always buying treats for his terrier Bess. Little yapper with a grin. Headlinger, swapping tales of his days as a mechanic, hands still stained with oil even now, like it never washed out. "You're a good lass," head say, eyes twinkling like he meant it, an ID blush, feeling seen for once. Not romance, heck with that noise. Too soon, but a mate, steady and kind, someone to natter with over the counter. Years rolled on, slow and bumpy. Daniel faded into rumors, heard he'd shacked up with some gal from the pub, didn't care enough to check, let him rot. Max got grey around the muzzle, his trot slowing to shuffles, legs wobbling on the stairs. But those eyes never dimmed, still gold as the day we got him. Elsie passed last winter, quick and quiet, slipped away in her sleep like she was done with the fuss. Left me her tea set, chipped mugs and all, and a note, "Keep kicking, lass, don't you stop." Cried buckets, snot and all. Buried her biscuits in the garden, Max sniffing the spot like he knew she was gone, tail low. The kid drops a bombshell. Last week, knock on the door woke me up, sharp and loud. Opened it. Purple-haired girl stood there, 19 tops, shivering in a thin jacket that looked like it'd seen better days. "You Eva," she snapped, voice like a whip. Nodded, wary as heck. "Im Lily, Daniel's my dad." "Good draught. Crikey, a kid. What in blazes?" She barged in, Max sniffing her boots, spilled it all. Daniel's fling years back. Left her mum high and dry with a baby and nothing else. "Has a wreck now," she said, eyes hard as nails. "Drinks too much, lost the house. Said you might know why he's like this." I laughed, dry and bitter. "Might do, love, might do." She stayed an hour, sipping tea I brewed too strong, petting Max who took to her quick. Told me her life. Rough as guts, patched together with grit, scrappy kid fighting for better. "He talked about you sometimes," she said. Quieter, said you were good. Swallowed hard, nodded, didn't know what to feel. Anger, pity, nothing maybe. Gave her my number on a crumpled napkin. She left with a nod, door clicking shut, soft. Sank onto the sofa. Max climbing up slow. "What a mess," I muttered. He licked my hand, steady as ever, picking up the scraps. Kept going, me and Max, pottering along like an old pair. Knitted him jumpers, better ones now. No holes, proper wool from the shop that smelled like sheep and dust. Yapped to him about the weather, raining again, shop drama. Mrs. Tate's cat ate a sock, and she wouldn't shut up about it. He listened, tail thumping slow, wheezing a bit now. And I'd think, this is enough. This is my law. Tom's a fixture at the shop, brings Best Buy nattering over the counter about oil changes, and her latest yap, teasing me 'cause my tea's weak, he says. Painted the flat last month, soft blue like the sky after a storm, hung Elsie's teapot on a hook, little nod to her cackle. One foggy morning, took Max to the river, mist clinging to the water like smoke, muffling the world soft. Sat on our bench, him wheezing next to me bundled in a scarf that smelled of wool and damp. Air was wet earth and coal, sharp in my nose, his fur damp under my hand, warm still. Thought about Daniel, wherever he was, whatever head turned into. No anger left, just a dull ache for the goon he used to be. Spinning me round, laughing like a kid. Max nudged me, head heavy on my lap. I smiled. "You're my rock, old man," voice catching in my throat. He huffed, eyes half closed. And I knew, had saved me, over and over, every blasted day. The old dears and the bingo crew got roped into more with the locals, old dears mostly, grey hair and sharper tongues. Mrs. Jenkins started a knitting circle, me dragging my needles over. Max flopped by the fire while we nattered. Her hands shook now. "Arthritis," she said, but she still bossed us round, cackling when my stitches dropped. Mr. Petal joined sometimes, bringing samosas his missus made, spicy as heck. Max sniffing for crumbs. Bingo nights turned regular. Elsie'd started it, but they kept it going, me shouting house with the old dears, laughing till my guts hurt. Max waiting outside with his tail thumping like he knew I'd won a fiver. Wasn't glamorous, wasn't big, but it was warm, noisy, mine. Lily keeps popping up. Lily texted a month later, short and sharp, "You around?" Met her at a cafe. Her purple hair faded, eyes tired but still hard. "Daniel's worse," she said. "Living in a van now, booze all day." Asked if I'd seen him. "No," I said. "Not since I legged it." She nodded, sipped her coffee, told me she was working, bar job, saving for a flat. Scrappy kid, tough as boots. Came by again a week later, brought a mate, skinny lad called Jez with a laugh like a donkey. They stayed, played with Max, Jez chucking a ball till Max wheezed and flopped. Liddy said, "You're all right, Eva, not like him." Swallowed that, didn't know what to say. Just nodded. The river turns cold. Autumn hit again, leaves dropping like flies, river turning sluggish and grey. Max slowed more, legs wobbly on the path, me half carrying him some days, muttering, "Come on, you old duffer, nearly there." Painted him more, canvases piling up, his grey muzzle, those eyes staring back. Tom noticed, said, "He's a fighter, that one, like you." Brought Bess over, her yapping at Max, who just huffed, too knackered to care. Lily showed up, saw the paintings, went quiet, said he's special in it. "Yeah," I said. "He blasted well, is." One night, Max didn't get up, just lay there, breathing slow. Panicked, called Tom. He came, said, "Vet time, love." Wrapped Max in a blanket, drove shaky Lily meeting us there, eyes red. Vet said, "Old age, heart's tired, best to let him go." Held him, tears soaking his fur, whispered, You saved me, mate, every day. He huffed, eyes closing, and he was gone. Broke me proper. House empty, quiet again, but different, softer. After the old duffer. Buried Max by the river, little spot under the oak, Lily helping dig, Tom bringing a stone. Painted it, his name scratched in. Kept going, shop, knitting, Lily popping by, Jess too, flat filling with noise again. Daniel's a ghost, Lily's my tie, but Max, crikey, he was my everything. Chose him over a husband. Mad in it, but true. Ever clung to something that hold you out the mess. Max did, my scruffy old sod, every time. Oh, you lot. Liked this tangled tale? Hit subscribe. Yeah, quick job. We got more to natter about. Cheers.